How's it going, guys? Jake from Boatman UK here. Today I'm just doing a quick video to show you what you can expect to receive if you order a Boatman Actor MK4 off us, whether it be a 5 amp or a 10 amp. So this will basically be an unboxing video showing you what's included. It'll be a process of what to do next, so charging of the batteries and a few maintenance bits and bobs for future proofing, and then we'll also show you a bit of a guide on what you can expect from the boat itself as well. Okay, so we have our box here. So I've already had the privilege of cutting the tape open. But this is exactly as you'll receive it, and this is what you will receive with the boat itself as well. So of course, the main thing, the boat itself. So as I mentioned, this is the Actor MK4, this being the 10 amp variant. Now these boats are incredibly lightweight. So the 5 amp version weighs 2.6 kilos and the 10 amp version weighs 2.8. So as I mentioned, very, very lightweight boats. So you've got the boat itself. Inside the boat, the battery will be in there ready to go, and it will be retained by a cable tie just to stop it from moving around in transit, because otherwise, of course, it can smash up a lot of stuff inside the boat. So your battery is always located inside the boat in case you go searching for it. With the boat itself, you'll receive the following. You'll receive a charging plug for the remote. You'll receive the remote itself. You will have a charging cable for the remote. You will get a spare pair of props and a spare hopper latch for the rear. Inside this white box, you will have the mains charger to charge the battery itself, a microfiber towel to clean the boat, and lastly, something that none of us read as blokes, a user manual. Now, I know how exciting it is when you receive something like this, and you're going to want to put it in the water and use it straight away. And for a little test session, that's absolutely fine. But if you're looking to fish with it properly and go on an actual session, you're going to want to charge everything up first, because obviously when they're in storage, they're at part charge, so you're going to want to make sure that you're getting full power out of it, so make sure everything's fully charged. Now, the battery is in the boat, but you can remove it, and you will need to remove the battery to be able to charge it. So that's really easy to do. You just simply pull the lid off like so. It's quite a tight fit because it does have a waterproof seal, and you simply remove the battery and pull it up and out. Now this battery is currently cable tied in, as I say, because it's brand new, so I'm not going to do that, but the battery itself is just on a pull ring, and you pull it up and out, and then there's a charging port on the side of the battery which simply plugs into your mains charger. Now a full charge, if the battery is completely flat, this depends on which battery you have. So on a 5 amp it will take 5 hours to charge back up to full, and on a 10 amp it will take 10 hours to charge. On a 5 amp battery you'll get 2.5 hours of runtime, and on a 10 amp battery you get 5 hours of runtime. As for your remote itself, very similar rules apply. You get a charging wire and a charging plug in the box. Make sure that you use that charging plug specifically, because it's the correct voltage rating for this type of remote. The remote is on a USB port, which again you'll receive with the parcel as well inside the box, but you can use any charging wire that you like. That doesn't matter, it's just the plug that's obviously the most important thing. Now the remotes don't take quite as long to charge. Generally speaking, a full charge on a remote is normally about 4 to 5 hours, and you'll get a lot more time. You'll get probably around between 6 to 8 hours on charge on a full charge of the remote itself. Now the charge status of the remote itself is different to the boat. On the boat you have an LED indicator on the top that will tell you your charge status. On the remote itself it's done by beep, so if I turn this remote on, you will hear that beeped 3 times in total. So that basically means 25% for each beep. So this remote is currently around 75% of charge. When you're charging the remote, you'll have an LED light that will be red when it's charging. Once that goes green, that basically means it's fully charged, and to confirm it's fully charged, you can simply just turn it on and hear the beeps. If the remote's already on, you simply single press the power button and you'll hear it beep. So again, this one's at 75% charged, so it's not fully charged. Now on the boat itself, there'll be an LED indicator on the charger itself. Whilst the boat is charging, or whilst the boat battery is charging rather, the LED indicator will be lit red, and once that goes green, that means it's fully charged. Now it's imperative on both of these, same as anything, once they're fully charged, to take them back off charge. Don't leave them overnight, because you can risk overcharging and damaging the battery, which of course will void any form of warranty. Now these boats and remotes are really easy to use. As you can see, the handset itself, really simple, a handful of buttons, and it fits into your hand perfectly. So of course, to navigate the boat, you're using the joystick just here. To open your center hopper, you're using this one on the left here. And as you can see, the center trapdoor opens. It is a manual close, so you will have to push the door back to close. And to operate the rear hopper, you're using the one on the right, and you'll see that the latch mechanism releases. And same again, to reset the door, you have to push it back into place and close the latch manually. This centre button here with a single press will actually reduce the speed of the boat, so you have 2 speeds, so a single press will reduce the speed. This is a multi-function button though, so these boats now have a compass feature, and the compass feature basically means when you're navigating on water and you engage auto forward, which is when you're holding the joystick in the direction like I am now for 5 seconds or more, you'll hear it beep on cue, and it will automatically hold the motors on and it will drive the boat in a straight line. So if you're navigating of a distance, it will auto go forward instead of you having to hold the joystick in the same position. And this is where the compass comes into play. So once you calibrate your compass, it will ensure that even in crosswind or anything like that, that the boat will continue to navigate in a straight line. So to calibrate the compass, you press and hold this button for 3 seconds once the boat is in the water, and then you'll see the boat start to go round and round in circles, and that is calibrating the compass. And as I say, that just ensures that when you're in auto forward, the boat navigates in a dead straight line. These last couple of buttons you probably won't use quite as often. This one here on the left is for yaw adjustment. So you press and hold that button, and then you use the joystick left or right. And essentially what that means and what it does is to adjust the drive of the boat. So if you're finding as you're navigating forward that the boat is veering to one side, so to the left or to the right, whether that be just because of an aged motor or something like that, for example, you can actually adjust and put more input to that motor. So for example, if it's veering left, you'd put more drive to the right motor, and if it's veering the other way, then you do the other, of course. Nice and simple. You should never really need to use this though, certainly not whilst the boat's brand new anyway, so you can pretty much ignore that for the most part. This button here, this little light button, this is the headlight. So a single press simply puts the headlight on and off, which currently you won't see because of the orientation of the boat. And it's again a multi-function button. So if you press and hold that, that would be to pair up the remote to the boat. Now the remotes will come pre-paired. You do not need to do this. The only time you need to do this is if for one reason or another the boat doesn't seem to be communicating with the remote, then you can of course reattempt to pair it. Or alternatively, if you lose the handset or get it wet and it knackers it up, for example, then of course you need a new handset, and this is how you would pair the new handset. The last button, of course, is your power button, which, as I mentioned, is a multi-function button. Again, a single press will allow you to hear the state of the charge of the remote, and to press and hold would turn it off, of course. Now, a couple of pieces of advice would be regarding the LED indicator on the lid itself. Now, remember that this LED indicator, whilst it does represent battery percentage, is only relative to load. So whilst the boat's out of the water and stationary and it's not under any actual load, then the battery percentage is going to be somewhat of a false reading. You really want to be keeping an eye on this once the boat is actually in the water. Now, when the boat is incredibly low on battery, down to the last 10%, the headlight will flash at you and it will warn you, and it will be telling you I'm low on battery. Now, you can continue to ignore that, and on these basic versions of these boats, they do not auto return home because there is no save home function. So if you're unsure on your battery level, best thing to do is get it into the margin up close, power it up, and keep an eye on your indicator once it's in the water, and don't let your battery run too low. Once you're down to that 30% margin or so, I would then charge it back up, because the last thing you want to do is end up ruining your session because you ran out of battery, or even worse, if you end up having a good run and you keep having to send the boat out and you end up running out of battery on the boat, it's going to be quite frustrating. So always keep an eye on your battery percentage. The other piece of advice, of course, as well, is regarding maintaining the boat. There's a couple of things that I regard as quite important maintenance, and that is keeping the boat clean. Obviously, not all of us look after our tackle like we probably should, but these things, you know, the better you look after them, the better they're going to last. Now, if you're using the likes of oils and additives, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure you clean the boat up after, especially on the underside. A lot of that will get trapped underneath this trapdoor here, and it's quite surprising what some of these oils and additives contain in them. Some of them actually contain acetone, and that is known to react and can actually cause the plastic to go brittle and crack over time. So if you don't want that to happen, simple thing is keep the boat clean, a bit of degreaser, a bit of a wipe down, and you're good to go. And realistically, they look better when they're nice and clean and not caked in all horrible sorts of bait and stinky and nasty. So look after it and it will look after you, of course. Now, the final thing is obviously regarding the actual hoppers themselves. So you've got two hoppers, you've got a centre hopper and a rear hopper. You can use either hopper to load your rig into. So you've got a total of 1.5 kilos of bait capacity. You've got 1 kilo in the centre hopper, and you can fit just about half a kilo in your rear hopper. Now, you can, as I say, you can use either go through the underneath of the boat and go for your centre trapdoor, as some people like to call it. That is probably the most common method. Or alternatively, you can actually go through the back door, and you can go through this line gap here. So what you would do is you'd open your door up, pop all your rig through and all your gubbins into there, and close the door, and just make sure that your line's going through that nice little gap there. and you're golden and you're good to go. So it's completely up to you which you use, but in most cases, because there's a higher bait capacity and it's a bit more room in there, so your presentation can be a bit better, most tend to go through the centre hopper. And there you have it. Probably the UK's most popular bait boat, even if we do say so ourselves. These things have always been very, very popular because of their pricing range and because of how easy they are to use. And they are realistically a great boat for the money. Now, if this video helps, obviously, if you're like me, I always like to watch a little unboxing before I buy something. Let me know if you do decide to purchase through this video, because it would just be good feedback for me. I would really appreciate any feedback. Constructive criticism is the main thing these days, so whether it's good or bad, if you don't like my voice on my face, let me know, that's fine, and I can do a different type of video for you next time. But hopefully this video helps and you enjoyed it. And again, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. Take care.